Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Virtual Racing and welcome to the 2023 EDRC by ALKW Tyler 24.de. My name is Chaz Draycott and I'm delighted to be back in the commentary box once again tonight for this virtual version of the European Truck Racing Championship. And we are at one hell of a racing circuit here at Tor Poznan in Poland, a circuit that the championship will be visiting in the real world in 2023. And hopefully I'll be there as well. It's a big old challenge for the trucks, this circuit. A lot of long, sweeping, high-speed corners for them to deal with, but we'll get onto that in just a moment's time, because last time out we were at another very challenging circuit, which was, of course, Donington Park on the Grand Prix layout. It was going to be a very busy night of racing, but Norbert Kiss went into it with supreme confidence, as he often does. There was incident early on, though, the number 32 machine being turned around time and time again, but the narrow confines of Donington Park were certainly going to attract that sort of action. It was Christian Lugosi that was having the trouble early on. John Newell here getting into the back of the number 84 machine, and then Jabolks Kerry getting involved as well. Christian Artiseros was the truck that was thrown off the road on the outside. Maximilian Maas here side by side with the number 51 machine, and to be fair, Born Tyhus was flying through the order at certain points of the race, but there was contact here and there that held him back slightly. He was certainly in the wars as the racing went on, but it was very entertaining all the way through. As you're going to see here by the fact that we've got so many highlights from that race meeting, there was so much going on up and down the order that it's been very difficult to sort of, well, filter it down into a tiny highlights package. So we are going to look at a lot of moments from that race, but as you see, the battles were really fierce here. And just behind Tyhus, we had the number 23 machine of Maximilian Maas pushing very, very hard. The Bagheera Freightliners were looking very good, actually, over the course of the meeting. And as you can see, they just looked so much more planted. You know, the layout of these machines with the long nose on the front of them just makes them look a lot more stable through a lot of the corners. And Tyhus was trying very hard to hold him off. Manuel Alvarez saw an opportunity. A driver that's right up there in the championship standings as well is Manuel, unfortunately running out wide and having some of that aforementioned contact with Tyhus. The number 91 machine was working very hard as well, which was Attila Lazar. He was having to do everything he could in the Scania to keep in touch with the number 86 machine of Gergo Balai. And Gergo Balai, by the way, has actually changed truck and changed number for this race meeting going on. You're going to see him in the number 56 Mercedes for the rest of the season, which is going to be exciting. But here we have him on our screens in the MAN, the green number 86. Just behind them as well was the number 48 truck, which was climbing around all over them. Andras Roos was waiting for an opportunity to come through, but look how close these guys were racing all the way down the hill. It was beautiful to watch, really beautiful stuff. And the respect was there, you know, for so much of the meeting, but tiny bits of contact like that can so quickly change the fortunes of many drivers. They have to be so careful. The trucks themselves can be very sensitive to just the tiniest tap here and there. We've seen them bouncing off each other all season. Lucas Hahn had a bit of a train lining up behind him as well, as you see here with Enrique Marcos, but Norbert Kiss was up over the horizon and disappeared into an early lead, and then kept it all the way to the end as he rounded out the final corner to take another win in the championship. He knew that he'd have to put in a lot of hard work to win the second race of the night, but the battles went on behind. The number 17 of Norbert Morvai was doing everything he could to try and get ahead of Angel Repero, but a very busy race rounded out with Norbert Kiss winning from Lucas Hahn and Enrique Marcos rounding out the podium. Repero was behind him, and then Morvai finishing the top 10, but that put Jari Stark on pole position for the second race of the night, ahead of Attila Lazar, Robin Kreuthoff, and Norbert Morvai. You could see Repero getting very busy with Norbert Kiss in the background. Norby would not take lightly to that one and would hope to get him back later on. Middle of the field there for Nathan Smith, having to keep his wits about him in the early stages, but it was an accident, or not so much an accident, sorry, but just a mistake by Jari Stark at turn 1 that gave away the lead instantly to Robin Kreutoff in that gorgeous Scania T-cab to go running off at the front. Big moment for Enrique Marcos behind as well at the hairpin on the opening lap. Certainly scared him into a lot of awareness. More contact between Reparo and Norbert Kiss was on the cards. The two of them would have to fight tooth and nail to try and move forward in the field. Nathan Smith just still sitting with everybody around him, doing his best to avoid contact and make sure he didn't get involved in any shenanigans. As you can see here, though, it's a very narrow circuit at Donington Park, and the drivers were really, really focused throughout the course of the night. Mark Taylor having a moment just off camera in the background. But again, just look at the size of these machines and how close it all is throughout the field. We're going to have more of this evening, and it's going to be great, great fun. Shabox Kerry there side by side with Bjorn Tyhus, number 51, and the number 79 side by side. But Robin Kreutoff was able to slightly open up a lead in the opening laps, and he was certainly excited to see whether he could benefit from the battling behind and open that gap even further. David West is always inside the top 20, currently sits 19th in the championship at the moment, and he had a front row seat for some of the epic battles going on ahead of him as he was chased down by the number 89 truck at that part of the race, Andreas Wagner. Norbert Kiss found himself in more trains yet again, trying to make his way forward through the pack. But of course, around Donington Park, it was really difficult to overtake, and not many of them could break forward and find opportunities where they normally would if we were racing in more conventional GT or touring cars, for example. This was all going to be about patience and waiting for mistakes from the drivers ahead and behind you. You can see here that they were still so close through every single corner. They were absolutely nose to tail. Onboard shot here from Angel Reparo as Norbert Kiss, as I should say, tries his hand and gets a manoeuvre done down at the hairpin. A lot of patience went into that from Norby, and he had to certainly work hard to get the move done. Reparo has been very quick so far this season, and he currently sits in 5th place. Lucas Hahn was also trying to take advantage of Reparo as well. But it's not that easy to get past the Spaniard. You can see here, though, that the battles were thorough all the way through the field. Nathan Smith here was trying to hold on to 9th place ahead of Maximilian Mars and Andras Roos, but there were a few drivers that were becoming a cork in the bottle, so to speak, holding up some drivers behind them and not making it easy for them to get through at all. Maximilian Mars and his teammate Jari Stark, though, were certainly two of the drivers that wanted to push on in the early stages to get right to the front of the field. And with those menacing eyes on the front of the truck, it's certainly not one that you want behind you in the rear view mirror. Andras Roos eventually got past Nathan Smith, although it wasn't for the lack of defence on Nathan's part, that's to say the least. Attila Lazar was inside the top 5 and just ahead of this moment for Enrique Marcos as he ran wide and let Norbert Kiss and his countryman Angel Reparo through down the inside. Lucas Hahn was still in the battles as well, trying everything he could to get past Enrique. A big send down the inside into the hairpin was all he needed. A little bit of contact on the way out and a little bit more as they headed up the hill. It was certainly argy-bargy stuff, but great entertainment all the same. Again, with so many hard braking zones and hairpins and chicanes at Donington Park, it was never going to be easy for drivers to defend, but it also wasn't going to be easy for them to attack. And it needed to come at corners where you wouldn't normally expect it. Corners like this, Norbert Kiss round the outside at the Crane of Curves as he gets past Attila Lazar, who then gets elbowed out of the way by Angel Repero. Angel certainly not leaving anything on the table at all. Norbert Morvai was trying to push past Jari Stark and make his way into the top two, but a podium position would certainly not be something to be sniffed at for Norbert. He was right up there in the championship going into the race meeting. He was 8th going into this one, but of course wanted to move up even more positions. And just holding station would give him the points to do that. A mistake ahead of him there by Robin Kruithoff, by the way, who was too busy pushing hard in the mid stages to latter stages of the race. Lucas Hahn was all over Enrique Marcos once again, who himself was getting held up by Attila Lazar, and the pack had broken up slightly into a quartet and this little trio that you have on your screens. The battle for second place was well and truly on, though, between Stark, Morvai, Kish, and Repero. And Norbert Kish finally got the better of Norbert Morvai into the hairpin. Tiny bit of a touch on the way through, and then a bigger headbutt from Angel Repero as they went back up the hill. Contact as well between Lucas Hahn, Enrique Marcos, and nearly Attila Lazar as the three of them went 3 wide. It certainly got busy with the lead battles further up as Morvai then shoved Repero off the road. Onto the final lap, and a big headbutt from Repero pushing Morvai off. Morvai spinning in the gravel and taking a bit longer than planned to get back up to speed in a less than ideal scenario, and a real shame to see such avoidable contact in the late stages after such a great race up to that point. Marcos was throwing every single panel of his Mercedes at the back of Attila Lazar's Scania, and he just could not get it done in the opening stages of the lap. He would have to be very patient and see whether he could get the better of him into the final corners. Lucas Hahn, meanwhile, had a front row seat for it all and was ready for just about anything to come his way. He was just waiting for that golden opportunity. A send down the inside by Marcos on Lazar could slow both of them down and mean that Lucas could sneak through with ease. Every braking zone looked like a potential opportunity for Lucas. It didn't come at the chicane, though, and he'd be hoping to make it work down into the hairpin. Up at the front, though, Robin Kruithoff was making it work with his race lead, and Lucas Hahn got his wish and moved down the inside by Enrique Marcos, pushing Lazar out wide, resulting in further contact between the two of them. Would give him a chance to make one more place in the final moments of the race. A big headbutt into the hairpin would certainly raise a few eyebrows, but Robin Kruithoff would take the win at Donington Park in the second race. Jari Stark in second, Norbert Kish in third, and Lucas Hahn certainly pushing his way through into 5th position with even more contact after the line as well. Like I say, raising a few eyebrows potentially in the paddock. But Robin Kruithoff's Scania T-Cab, the truck to beat at Donington Park, and an amazing job done by the number 45 ahead of Jari Stark and Norbert Kish. Another podium and more championship points edged out over his championship rivals. Robin Kruithoff second in the standings after all of that. We'll look at the championship in just a moment. But what a great meeting we had. Another absolute belter, plenty of entertainment, plenty to look at and talk about. And we're going to have more of the same here tonight at Poznan. As you see there, practice started at 7 o'clock. We're going to get qualifying underway in just a few minutes. That is local time, by the way, there. It's an hour ahead of us here on GMT. So it's 8 o'clock Berlin time, as I'm told to call it by my friend HJ. Qualification starting in just a few minutes, like I say. Then we've got race 1 at about 8:45, race 2 at 9:15. The races are only about sort of 20, 25 minutes each, and not many laps at all. It's going to be a lot of fun, though, and this circuit is going to be a big old challenge for all of these drivers. We will have a look at the championship standings, a quick preview of the circuit as well in just a moment, and we'll just get everything lined up as to where we are coming into this round. Not much left in terms of the championship now. This is the 5th event of the season. I mistakenly put the 4th event of the season on my socials. Norbert Kiss, though, top of the pile, 274 points ahead of Robin Kruithoff on 252. And then it's very close behind, though. Lucas Hahn in 3rd, Enrique Marcos 4th, Angel Repero in 5th place, and then Norbert Morvai only 10 points clear of Yari Stark. Gergo Balayi is in 8th, Attila Lazar 9th, and Manuel Alvarez nearly 100 points back in 10th position. But that 22-point gap for Norbert Kiss is very important at this stage, because if he takes just one bad result, it's not going to make too much of a dent in his championship. Robin Kruithoff, though, has certainly done very, very well indeed. After what looked like a potentially shaky start to the season in the very first race anyway at Brands, he then did very well for the rest of the meeting, but it's so easy for one race to completely change your championship and throw it all up in the air. Maximilian Maas was next up in the standings, by the way, in 11th place. He's ahead of Andras Roos in 12th. Jorge Vila is 13th, ahead of Bjorn Tyhus. Then we've got Christian Lagosi, Gillian Christian, Nathan Smith, and Shabolks Kerry in 17th, tied 17th, that is, with Nathan Smith, both on 123 points. David West, 19th on 102, and then Gyula Zentai on 20th place with 97 points. You can see just how quickly, though, it can all spread out in this series. It only takes one good result to make it all better. Just as I said a moment ago, with one result making it bad, you can have one very good race meeting and suddenly fling yourself up there. Revesh Sim Racing are 84 points clear in the team's championship, looking very steady at the moment, ahead of Dutch Truck Racing DTR. And then we have Hahn TMA Racing Team as well. Hahn, Gomez, and Alvarez all looking good in 3rd position. They've got a 30-point gap over this is Sim Racing and Urban Sim Racing in 5th, ahead of Pagnots Alberthetti TR.ES. HVML Team Pro ahead of Wannabe SRT. Then Rising Suns Motorsport and HVML Team AM round out the 10 teams at the top of the standings. But it is looking very nice for Revesh Sim Racing at the moment. They've had a convincing season so far with Norbert Kiss. Their other two drivers, Gillian Christian and Gergo Balayi, still pushing on and grabbing whatever points they can get. And that's what it's all about in these championships. You have to just score points all the time. You could be sat in 4th place and think, oh, 3rd would be nice. But if you overdo it, push for 3rd place, and then have an incident, then you've wasted your opportunity at good points. And it's the really great drivers know exactly when to push and when not to. That's the difference, and that's what drivers need to really focus on. It's not always about a big send here and there and making every single corner count. You've just got to sometimes have that patience and know when is the right time. So looking over at our live timing then, Norbert Kiss is currently the fastest in practice at the moment, ahead of Lucas Hahn, Enrique Marcos, Robin Kruithoff, and Andras Roos. Session is just coming to an end now, though. Just looking down to see if there's any improvements. Looks like it's just David West and Norbert Morvai that are on the circuit at the moment. Here is a look at said circuit, though. The gorgeous Tor Poznan. Big challenge, this place. So tough in so many places, especially when you get down to turn 3, the tight left-hander. The start-finish straight is the completely straight line up on the far left-hand side of that track map there. Turn 1, a really long, sweeping 180-degree right-hander. Turns 11 and 12 are tough as well near the end of the lap. A little chicane left, then right, heading into turn 13. Drivers need to have their wits about them there to get on the brakes properly. But this is a bit more of an old-school shaped circuit, to be honest with you. It's not the overly twisty, start-stop natured Tilkedromes that we're used to. It's got a lot more flowing corners to it. And it's going to be a big old challenge, though, to keep the speed up. That's what's going to be the main thing here tonight. Is going to be average speed amongst drivers. You can see, though, it's got beautiful scenery around it here at Poznan. There's some great views around this track. And I'm super excited for the championship to head there in the real world. So then, into qualifying we go. And now drivers will get a chance to really show us what they've got and put some solid lap times on the board. The session has just ticked in now. Everyone will appear in the pit lane, make their way out, and push on. Track position's going to be important. We've seen drivers fighting over that before, that's for sure. And there you see as they make their way around turn 1 into what is apparently turn 2, but I don't believe that it is really a corner, to be honest with you. There's a lot of greenery around this place. Old school circuit though, there's not runoff everywhere, it's just grass and then barriers. This is turn 3, big braking zone here. It's almost a 180-degree hairpin. And this is Norbert Kiss putting a little bit of pressure on the number 14 machine actually right now to try and get said track position. Is trying everything he can to get said track position. He wants clear air in front of him. He's not lingering about here. He's got the number 89 truck parked right in front of him there. That is Andreas Wagner. You can see the lines there for the karting circuit, which goes off to the right hand side there. Look, there's a few of them all trying to work together. Or maybe not work together, in fact, maybe just work against each other here to try and get that clear air. Norby's doing his weaving, slamming on the brakes. He's just coming around turn 13 now. And there's that long straight towards turn 14. Like the low bridge there. Reminds me almost of Alton Park, that part of the circuit there, when you go through a long double apex right-hander, which would be Druids, down towards the final corner, which is also a right-hander down at Lodge. But of course here, that's just turns 13. 14. Across the line they go. Norbert Kiss flying down the start-finish straight. Let's see what he can do on this first lap of the session. The field is nicely spread out actually throughout all of this, but look, people aren't getting a massive run out of the final corner here. Jorge Vila making sure he's got clear air ahead of him to David West. Then looking at the number 14 machine of Enrique Marcos down into turn 3. It's going to be so important about getting out of there cleanly. Love the look of this Mercedes. Great looking machine. There's Robin Kreutoff, second in the championship at the moment is Robin. He's going to be trying everything he can to outdo Norbert Kiss here. I wonder if there are any major advantages to the Scania T-Cab. Of course, the engine being mounted a lot further forward in this truck. Similar to the Freightliners, of course, used by the Bagheera team in the real world, which unfortunately we will not be seeing, I believe, in the ETRC this year. Norbert Kiss now coming around the final corner. He's done 2 purple sectors so far, just under 11 minutes of the session left to go. There he goes around the final corner. Almost looks a little bit like Most when they come around the final corner there, and you see down the start finish straight. Across the line, and it is Norbert Kiss that goes fastest. The third final sector there by Enrique Marcos was actually a purple sector. He beat Norbert Kiss by only 1/100 of a second, 10 thousandths to you and me. Lucas Hahn has gone third fastest at the moment. At the moment it's Balai in fourth, then Jari Stark fifth in the Freightliner. We've got a bunch of manufacturers inside the top five. Norbert Morvai seventh now as Andras Roos goes fourth. There is Gergo Balai in his new Mercedes. Different livery on this truck as well, the green and silver on it now instead of the full dark green that they used to have on the MANs. We've got drivers popping up the order a bit more. Robin Kruithoff is fourth fastest now. Tyhoos up there as well. He goes into ninth place, does Bjorn Tyhoos. Maximilian Mars rounding out the top 10 currently. Here is Jari Stark, currently 7th. Now that is Jari making his way around the tricky turn 12 and 13. You could see he had to flick it left, then flick it right for that double apex right-hander at turn 13. It's not easy to get it spot on through there because you have to manage the weight transfer of the truck, flicking it one way then the other. Nathan Smith has just gone back to the pit lane and Jari Stark has decided to come in as well, flying into the pits. On a real mission into there then, wasn't he? The pit lane almost looks like a giant tent here at sorry, at Poznan, doesn't it? Here's the left-hander for Bjorn Tyhoos. That's him making his way out of turn 6 into 7 and then 8, which is the right-hander he's just been through now. That's where the karting circuit begins. Pulls off to the right just before where turn 9 is on this version of the circuit. Not that long a lap here, actually, to be fair. It's, I mean, 1 minute 55. It's not a short lap by any stretch of the imagination, but still, in these trucks, you are usually looking at over 2 minutes a lap, and here, to be under that means that it is actually quite a high average speed, quite a short lap indeed. Now we look at Jorge Vila, driver that's been doing pretty well so far this season, but unfortunately lies 13th in the championship. So he's not as high up as we would have expected given the pace that he's got for this championship. There's Andras Roos, currently 5th fastest at the moment in the MAN, doing a great job in the wannabe sim racing team truck. He's all on his own at the moment, which is great. That's exactly what you want. Slides the rear end in on the brakes, turns it in and doesn't quite get the traction off the corner that he would have been wanting. Didn't look like it picked up quite as much as he intended there. A couple of fans on the outside of the tiny grandstand. That's one thing I was told about this circuit though, it's not really a spectator circuit. It's almost like the Slovakia ring where you don't really get the fans and spectators out in amongst it around the track. They're all sort of concentrated in one area on the start-finish straight and in the paddock, unfortunately. But still, the potential of going there this year with the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is exciting. I know the drivers will be looking forward to it as well, and it's good to see that some of our real-world drivers here, Norbert Kiss, Lucas Hahn, they get a chance to at least test the sim and test it. John Newell also out there on track tonight, I must add. Good to see John. He's 16th fastest at the moment in this qualifying session, of which there is 6.5 minutes left to go. No Sasha Lenz or Jamie Anderson tonight by the look of it. Here is Lucas, who is now fastest actually, 30 thousandths of a second quicker than Norbert Kiss, but look at that, the top three separated by less than a tenth of a second. Norbert Kiss 30 thousandths behind Lucas Hahn, and Enrique Marcos another 52 thousandths behind Norby. And on Lucas's lap, actually, it was his Sector 1 that was the purple sector. Sector 2 wasn't even an improvement, and Sector 3 was a personal best. So it wasn't a perfect lap from where Lucas Hahn sits right now, but still, it was enough to give him that pole position. Gillian Christian slowly guiding his MAN through turn 12 and 13. You could see there the weight transfer. It's so difficult, so important around that part of the track. And here's Jose Alemany for the Panos team. A massive ball and bollard banner thing on the inside there. Hopefully nobody ended up hitting that over the course of tonight. I think it's a giant balloon, actually. But the times keep rolling in. There's no massive improvements by anybody at the moment. No one inside the top 10 is really going much quicker. Jorge Vila, actually, he's just done a green sector 2. Not improved much on his first sector, but he's about the same pace of the drivers around him. He's just one truck ahead of Alemany, actually, there. About to go across the line. There's John Newell going through. He does not improve his lap time. Keep your eye on Vila in 8th place. No, it's 1:55.7 for him. And his best lap before now. Oh no, he does improve, actually. That is an improvement. He just doesn't jump up any positions. He just remains where he was. John Newell flying down towards turn 3, though. That little kink to the right that the other trucks are going through behind him now, that is apparently turn 2 on this circuit. Shakes things up slightly, doesn't it? As off the road there goes Wagner. Wagner's gone out wide. With Lucas Hahn, who remains on pole position for the time being. Can't see any improvements coming in from Norbert Kiss yet. Lucas Hahn's not improving on his times either. Really many improvements anywhere else either. Norbert Morvai, actually, he's done a green middle sector, which is his personal best. He's just about to cross the line, actually. And he does not improve by the look of it. He does not. There's Norbert Kiss across the line. I think this is going to be his fast lap now. So we'll keep our eye on him for just a moment. We've got 2 3/4 minutes left in the session. So even if this doesn't work as the fastest lap of his session, he can at least give it another go, but he's going to have to do it straight away after this one. There's Enrique Marcos, currently 3rd place. He comes into the pits. Is he going to get back out to try and set another lap? I don't think he's going to have long enough unless he gets going. As of right now, doesn't look like he's moving. Here's Robin Kruithoff, currently 4th fastest, 3/10 off the top time at the moment. Love that Scania T-Cab. It's such a cool looking machine. He's just making his way now through turn 6, 7 and 8. This is Norbert Morvai, currently in 17th position. Slightly hanging the back end out there, I should say. He's going now through turn 7. Then he's going to go into the right-hander at turn 8. And you'll see the lines on the circuit where the karting grid starts. Down that small back straight towards turn 9 they go. Turn 9, plenty of curb and grass there for Morvai into turn 10. And there's Norbert Kiss behind him. Norby pushing on at the moment. He's not done a personal best sector 1. As Morvai tries to just keep it all wrangled and under control there. Hendrik Neitsch has apparently had an incident and crashed into something. Norbert Kiss has not been improving on his sectors at the moment, so he may have to give it one more lap. There's Attila Lazar. There's Maximilian Maas. He's right behind his teammate Jari Stark on the grid at the moment. They're going to share the 5th row if it stays as it is. Just hiding there behind the trees. Just in front of him on the circuit there is Alemany. There's been a moment for David West. You can see him going slowly there at the side of the road. He's just had them off as he came out of turn 13. No improvements by Norbert Kiss, by the way, on that lap at all. He didn't improve in any sectors there. So now I'm going to keep my eye out and see exactly how he does in what's going to be his final lap of the session. Sector 1 finishes just as they come out of turn 4, before they go through the right kink at turn 5. Sector 2 is just before the last couple of corners, which is down at turns 11, 12 and 13. Here is Norbert Kiss now, just about to hit that first sector. Time is no improvement. No improvement for him. When the drivers do not improve on their fastest sector through there, it goes orange on our timing screens. When they do a personal best, it goes green, and of course when they go fastest out of everybody, it goes purple. It is orange for Norbert Kiss through there. Around the final corner on the karting circuit goes Norbert Kiss, and look how close he's running to that white line, just kissing the grass here and there as well. Managing the weight transfer nice and smoothly. He's not improved in the second sector either. Can he just grab a little bit more time here out of turns 12, 13? Down towards the final corner at turn 14. I'm not sure it's going to be enough for Norbert Kiss. It's not looking promising at the moment. Lucas Hahn might be about to take his first pole position this season. There goes Norby. And yeah, into the pits. He knows the lap is not good enough. Wow, big stuff. Big stuff. As Norbert Kiss will start second on the grid. He's still going to be on the front row at the end of the day. Jorge Vila right behind Alemani as they come around the final corner now. Vila hoping to get up another row on the grid. But no, into the pits goes he. Alemani in the pits as well. The truck ahead of them was David West. He remains in 20th place. There's Zentai across the line. And Andres Wagner as well crossing the line. Heading into turn 1 in truck number 89. He's going to finish the session down in 23rd place and, well, in the barrier. Slightly reduced grid for this round of the championship, unfortunately, but I think due to the nature of the circuit, I think some of them will be quite grateful for that, to be honest with you. Checkered flag is out. Qualifying session is complete. And any moment now, we will switch over into the race session. Just give me a quick moment here on Virtual Racing, and I, Chaz Draycott, will be back with you in just a moment. Just going to grab a drink and then get ready for the race. I'm sure you'll all agree it's nice to see a different truck at the top of the pile here. No disrespect to Norbert Kiss at all, but of course it throws things up in the air slightly when we have a different leader in this qualifying session. Lucas Hahn takes pole position in the Iveco S-Way ETRC from the MAN TGS variant D of Norbert Kiss. Enrique Marcos and Robin Kroitov make up the second row of the grid, which means that we have 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 positions. So plenty to look at, plenty to do. And I can tell you now that all the trucks are moving onto the grid. They'll be lined up any second now, and we can get the first race of the night underway. It's going to be 11 laps. The counter and timer at the top will tell you 12 because we have to add an extra one for the green flag lap, the pace lap as such. And let us know in the chat whether you be on the German stream or the English stream. Let us know if you fancy any drivers in this one. Anybody that stands out or anyone that takes your fancy here that you may think is going to be a race winner. Because you never know what can happen at the front, whether there's contact or whether there's any argy-bargy. It can all very quickly change, can't it, in these races? We've seen it before. And we'll see it many times for the rest of the season as well. There's a few drivers just having a moment with the server at the moment. They're just trying to get in and get on the grid and get everybody lined up in the correct order. It's just taking a second for some of the trucks to settle down. They all obviously teleport away from the pit lane onto the grid when it comes to it. And I think they're just going to reset things and get everybody back out onto the grid. So please do bear with us a moment, and we'll get to the grid in just a minute's time. We'll be right back. So we are just taking a quick technical break here on Virtual Racing for the 2023 EDRC, just getting everything reset up with the server. There was just a few little mistakes on the grid, I believe, so they were just trying to get everything back how it should be. And then we'll be back with you in a few minutes' time. We'll go through the grid, and then we'll get the first race of the night underway. So please do bear with us. Thanks very much for your patience in advance, and we'll be back in just a few. Cheers. apologies for the delay here, everybody. We are just trying to get things fixed as quickly as possible, and then we'll get things underway and hopefully have some solid racing here from Poznan. Please do bear with us. Again, sorry for the delay on this, everybody. We're just trying to get the server back online again now, and it's just taking its time coming back to life. So please do bear with us. We will get this resolved. Just time frames, unfortunately, are not apparent right now for when that will be. So thank you for your patience, everyone. We'll be back with you as soon as we can be. Okay, fantastic news, everybody. The server is now back online. The trucks are going to be loading in just a moment's time, and then we'll finally get this race underway. Apologies for that delay there, but thank you very much for your patience. I'm sure you're all just as excited as I am to go racing here at Poznan. Fantastic circuit, very big challenge for the drivers. A lot of high average speeds here at this track. It's definitely going to throw a different curveball at these drivers to the circuits we've been at in the last couple of weeks, the likes of Harama, Donington Park with their heavy braking zones. There's only really one or two here at Poznan. The rest of the track is a very high average speed, like I say. So it's going to be certainly a focusing night for all of these drivers. Everyone's just loading into the server now, though. The drivers are joining one at a time. So bear with them, and I know that we'll be back on the grid in just a second's time. Thanks as well to Gero Mulkow for working on all of this. He's not only doing the broadcasting and commentating over on the German stream, but he's also managing the server as well. He's a very skilled man when it comes to multitasking. So he should have us up and running shortly. Please do bear with us then, and we'll get it ready. Apologies, everybody. It seems like there was a couple of drivers just reconnecting to the server that haven't quite synchronized the same data and files and multiple things here that has meant that the server has unfortunately gone down again. So things are still being reset, and then we'll hopefully get back on circuit. We'll try not to keep you waiting as long, but thank you honestly for your patience so far. We'll just try and give updates where we can, and I'll try and communicate as much information as I can, but we are just going to have to wait for the server to come back online and then hopefully get everybody in once again. So thanks for your patience, everyone. I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so there's your good news, everybody. We have trucks on the grid. Looking like everything is all good to go. Lucas Hahn ready to start from pole position with Norbert Kiss alongside him. Great to have the whole grid all lined up and ready to go. And of course we will have a couple of laps, or a lap at least, where the field will crawl around at a lower speed and have that as our green flag lap, the formation lap as such. You will see a counter at the top which will say 12 laps, but we will have an 11 lap race. So what you've got to do is just take one of each of the values that you're going to see at the top of the screen. I'll remind you of that as the evening goes on. You can see there the second row of the grid, Enrique Marcos and Robin Kruithoff, very, very potent indeed. The top 4 drivers on the grid are actually the top 4 in the championship as well. Norbert Kiss, Robin Kruithoff, Lucas Hahn and Enrique Marcos are the top 4 in the championship standings at the moment. And on the grid we've got 3rd, 1st, 4th, 2nd basically in terms of their championship positions. We've got 20 seconds now for everything to get back underway, and then hopefully the field will pull away, and as you see there the lights come on. We will not get the usual standing start where everyone just boots it away off the line. There'll be a much more controlled scenario. Here we go then. Fantastic looking field we've got. Some gorgeous machines, very talented drivers as well. The calibre of this field is remarkable. As we look back here from Lucas Hahn, the driver that starts from the very front of this field. First time this season that Lucas Hahn has put it on pole, and it's the first time this season that we're not going to see Norbert Kiss on pole position. He's over there, of course, in the gorgeous big red Baloo, the MAN TGS variant D, wearing that number 1 with pride, of course, as reigning European champion. And then Enrique Marcos and Robin Kruithoff, certainly ones not to be messed with on the second row of the grid there. If it does kick off between our top 2, my money is on one of those guys, to be honest with you, especially Kruithoff. No disrespect to Enrique Marcos, but Kruithoff is just so potent in that Scania T-Cab at the moment. There's only 1 point in the championship between Lucas Hahn and Enrique Marcos as well. The two of them right together. Look at the number 32, Christian Legosi. Watch out for Legosi actually making moves forward, because Legosi is quick. Just hasn't really qualified where we would have expected. John Newell down there in 17th position. See just how tightly packed this entire field is though. We're just about to get going here at Poznan in the 2023 EDRC by LKW Tyler 24.de with me, Chaz Draycott, on commentary, Gero Mulkow on the broadcasting and server and German commentary duties as well over on the German stream. Who's your money on though, everybody? Let us know as they come around the final corner then to get this race underway. The first race of the night, and this is going to be the 9th race of the season. Lucas Hahn holds them at a steady pace then round the final corner, gets up to the pit entry, waits and waits and waits, and the first race of the night in the EDRC is underway. It's a gorgeous start by Lucas Hahn. Very well done by Norbert Kiss to move over to the right-hand side of the grid already and block off any potential inside moves by Enrique Marcos. Let's see how they all make it round turn 1 then. Is it all going to remain tidy? Certainly looks like it at the front of the pack. Can't quite see if anybody else has had a problem further down. Doesn't look like there's any contact or anybody running wide. Great start, though, by Lucas Hahn. He's done everything right that he needed to do so far. He's going to be hoping now that Enrique Marcos tries to get past Norbert Kiss at every opportunity. He wants them two to battle. There's Jorge Vila in the middle of the field. Truck number 66 trying to get past the 48. That's Andres Roos getting a bit of contact there with Norbert Morvai, number 17. Sideways as you like there. And somehow manages to save it. The wannabe SRT machine. Well, it's more like a wannabe drifter at the moment. Very sideways. Now Jari Stark wants a piece of this as well. And the first of the two Freightliners from This Is Sim Racing. Vila round the outside of Roos. That's not going to work here. You can see them bouncing and juddering over the curbs. One way then the other. It's a vital part of the circuit to get right. It could very easily go wrong around there. Look at how close they are together. Leaning on each other a little bit. Nearly contact there in the middle as John Newell goes very sideways for a moment there. All over the trucks around him, pushing everything on that he can. And now, as we go round the final corner for the first time, it's Lucas Hahn from Norbert Kiss, Enrique Marcos, Robin Kruithoff. There's Jari Stark in 9th position. Lucas Hahn, of course, doing the fastest lap on the first lap of the race. Side by side here, glued together is Maximilian Mars and Christian Lugosi. Round the first corner they go. Lugosi leaves a bit of room down the inside. Mars has to compromise though, take a tighter and slower line. Here's Lugosi going to get the run off the corner. It looks like it. They're nearly making contact. They're still side by side as they go through turn 2 down towards 3. Lugosi's got the inside line though, and you'd think with a little bit of late braking, got the move done. Yes, he does. Fantastic stuff by Christian Lugosi. But Maximilian Mars gets a run, tries to come back down the inside into the next left-hander. Doesn't quite work though into turn 4. Through the left, then the right at turn 5. And then again hard onto the brakes into turn 6. Another little hairpin here. So difficult to get right. Not quite 180 degrees though, very similar to turn 3. Then they have to very quickly focus on turn 7 and 8, going right and then left as whoa, Nathan Smith out of shape through the right as he gets towards turn 7. That was a scary moment there for Nathan Smith, but he manages to catch it all up together. Manages to gather it all up, I should say. But Lucas Hahn doing a great job at the very front of the pack at the moment, getting away from Norbert Kiss. Looks like Alamani had a problem in that first sector on the previous lap. He's now at the back of the field, I'm afraid. Right down the order. Whole field all in one big train though at the moment. Nathan Smith has been pushing on all season. He's always got battles around him as Nathan Smith. He's never really on his own on the racetrack, to be honest with you. Here's Andres Roos for wannabe SRT. SRT standing for Sim Racing Team. He's got Jorge Vila all over the back of him as they power their way down towards turn 3. To then go hard onto the brakes. Just how close these drivers are able to follow each other. It's a real art form, to be honest. But you get great visibility in these trucks. You can see a lot around you. Very high up in the air is there's Jose Maria Rosa. Going sideways into turn 3. Oh, he's been battered by Wagner. Wagner just out of nowhere clatters into the side of him. Doesn't seem to see that Rosa's there. Rosa's off the road still. Trying to get back on. Just recovered between turns 3 and turn 4. That's a big shame. Here's Nathan Smith throwing it down the inside of Shabados. Still down the inside of Shabados. Not easy to fit down the inside through there when your rival doesn't really leave much room down the inside, but Victor pushing on hard. It makes the Freightliner look very, very small, doesn't it? Any other racing truck around it. The cab is tiny in the Freightliners. I remember when I first saw the Bagheera Racing Freightliners in the real world, when I started commentating on the European Truck Racing Championship. Could not believe how small the cabs were. I mean, look, right where the driver is, the panel behind them is the back of the cab. At least in the other machines, you've got a bit more padding, there's a bit more going on behind the driver there. As Maximilian Mars looks down the inside of Lugosi. Now down the start-finish straight. Let's not forget, slipstream not so important here because you cannot exceed 100 miles an hour. At the end of the day, you've not really got much to gain from sitting behind the truck in front of you and trying to pile in behind them. And here is your race leader, Lucas Hahn. Doing everything right so far. Leading the pack. He opened up a bit of a gap a few laps ago to Norbert Kiss, but now that gap has come back down again. Norby's so good on the brakes though in corners like this. That's where he manages the pace of the truck very well. Enrique Marcos is not too far behind him either there. You see him in the number 14. He holds on to third position. Lucas makes it round turn 8. Nice and tidy. He's doing everything right at the minute, like I say. Lucas just holding on currently. The question is, where will the move come if it does come from Norbert Kiss? If he gets the opportunity and has the pace differential, where can he make that overtaking move? The two of them have butted heads before in this series, this season as well. Harama was a definite highlight or low light, dependent on who you support. There's been big old contact between these guys before. They've had some great races in the real world as well, outside of the virtual and simulated championships that we have. Lucas is not really feeling the need to defend at the moment by the look of it though. He knows that Norby's not going to go for it yet. They may try and break away together. Move away from the chasing pack. There's Robin Kreuthoff, who is in said chasing pack. Robin's second in the championship to Norbert Kiss at the moment, and if it finishes like this, he is of course going to lose championship points to his main rival. Norby now piling in behind Lucas Hahn. He's all over the back of him all of a sudden. Balayi's going well actually in the Mercedes just behind Robin Kreuthoff there. He's up in 5th position at the moment. Balayi is currently 8th in the championship. There he is. For Revage Sim Racing. Got Norbert Morvai all over the back of him, another one of the Hungarian drivers in the field for Urban. The Urban Sim Racing machine, the Iveco S-Way, looking very tasty. I love how retro the livery looks on the Mercedes Actros. It looks proper old school, doesn't it? Still goes really well though. Got its own characteristics, its own behaviour. These trucks are very well simulated. The guys behind the mod have done an amazing job here on Assetto Corsa and making it as accurate as they can. They've been working with the real drivers and teams to get as much data and information as they can, because it's such a niche as truck racing, and it really upsets me that it is, because it's so much fun. After being introduced to it just a couple of years ago and becoming the commentator for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, I can tell you that it is a hell of a lot of fun. It really did open my eyes to just what these drivers have to do and put up with, you know, the differences from this to conventional racing in touring cars, GT cars and open wheelers. It's just amazing. The adaptation is beautiful. There's a bit of argy-bargy going on here. Andreas Wagner has got Gillian Christian with him in the number 16 truck. Now, Gillian's usually a lot higher up the order than this, so quite sure what's happened to Gillian over the course of the opening laps. Is very sideways in front of Wagner there around the final corner. Through goes Henry Tyhus. Henry's going to have the both of them here. The number 15 goes through down the inside. Says thank you very much. He tries to move over to the left to get in front of Wagner. Doesn't want to squeeze him too much down the inside there. Wagner's now got a front row seat to the battle going on in front of him. Needs to make sure he doesn't go into the back of either of them in front. As Tyhoos looks like he was getting slightly sideways there. The truck was bobbling around. Tyhoos in the Scania, pushing on as hard as he can. Is he going to defend the inside line from Christian? I believe there's going to be a touch. No, somehow there was not. Christian manages to get it stopped as Wagner goes off. Wagner lights up the rears and unfortunately cannot recuperate from there. Here is Norbert Kiss, only a matter of tenths of a second behind Lucas Hahn at this point. He's putting the pressure on, that's for sure. But is it going to be enough pressure to unsettle Lucas? The young German has showed great pace so far over the course of tonight. He continues to uphold that during this first race. We look here at Maximilian Mars, he's there behind the trees, with Lugosi just in front, in 10th position. It's worth noting that 8th position is very important in this race as well, because Jorge Vila will be reversed onto pole position for the second race if it finishes this way. The top 8 from the first race get reversed on the grid for the second race, as they do in the real world in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, which means that one of these guys, or at least both of these guys at the moment, will be starting from the 4th row of the grid in 8th position. We look back from Lucas Hahn at the almost terrifying and ominous Baloo, big red machine of Norbert Kiss, nicknamed Baloo. It's a hell of a race truck in the real world, it's a hell of a race truck in the virtual world as well, with Norbert Kiss behind the wheel. But Lucas has been there, done that. He's had the fights, he's had the battles, he's got the seat time in the real world as well. And he took his first overall race win at the Nürburgring on home soil just last season. I was very, very fortunate to be out there and witness it in person and commentate on what unfolded, what became a very emotional victory between him and his father, Jochen Hahn, the legend that is. But look at Norbert Kiss all over the back of him now. He's just filling his mirrors at this moment in time. He's not going for any majorly aggressive manoeuvres or anything. He's not throwing it down the inside and making an overtake every single time they get on the brakes. But that's just good racing by Norby. He's just filling those mirrors and hoping that they can maybe get away from Enrique Marcos in 3rd position, because that's going to be important. Because if they don't have much of a gap back to Enrique, then they can't battle as much as they're going to want to as well. Because if Norby throws a move up the inside here and it doesn't work and it slows the pair of them down, and he's going to be kicking himself. Look at how close they are together though for this race lead. It's encapsulating stuff at the moment. But Norby's not doing more than he needs to. He's just sitting there at the moment. Lucas has got fantastic pace about him around this circuit. But is this now a sign of Norby getting slightly impatient? Will we see a change in the driving style? Will we see an attack from Norby anytime soon? Here's Henry Tyhoos down in 19th place, still battling away with Andreas Wagner, who has got back ahead by the look of it on the previous lap. Henry throwing everything that he can at the MAN next to him. Truck number 89 has the inside line for turn 3. Henry doesn't turn in where he wants to, but look, he's going to get the run on the exit now over Andreas. Nothing doing this time round though. They go on the brakes into turn 4 through the little right kink that is turn 5. And is there going to be a move from Gilly and Christian on the brakes into turn 6? Yes, there is. Down the inside goes the Revage Sim Racing machine, and up another position in the race. But For how long? Because these guys have been swapping places for a good 3 or 4 laps now. There's, oh dearie me, big old hit there into the back of Gillian Christian as Henry Tyhus overdoes it. Luckily, and I think for the sake of karma, Henry does not gain anything from that. It doesn't just send Gillian off the road completely, but two of them end up even on the way out of the corner as well. Anyway, further back up the order, this is Norbert Morvai in 6th position. He's got Gergo Balayi in front of him, and then Andras Ruse all over the back in the wannabe SRT machine. Big close battle between all these guys. All it's going to take is one mistake here to really shake this one up, that's for sure. You can see Robin Kroitov just ahead of them though. He's starting to get away slightly here, so he's going to be happy with that. To have that breathing room behind them, it's going to mean a lot. Look at how much they move around behind each other and just try and open the door somehow and make these moves. As Andras Ruse has to stab the brakes there not to go into the back of Norbert Morvai. Would have been very easy to just overdo that then. Just slide into the back of the truck in front. Not long to go now in this race actually. Lucas Hahn and Norbert Kiss still leading the way, glued together on lap 10 out of 12. 2 more laps. Only about 4 minutes of this race remain. Here is Maximilian Maus on the back of Christian Legosi. Just making their way through turn 10 now. Down the small straight just behind the trees there. To the left at turn 11, onto the brakes into turn 12. And then that becomes turn 13. Here's back to Andras Ruse. Still the quartet is glued together down the start-finish straight. High speed at turn 1 is pretty intense, isn't it? It's a big long sweep around there, and in machines like this it's not easy to carry that sort of speed and keep the balance of the truck up as well. Because let's not forget, these trucks weigh over 5 tons. They're 1,200 horsepower, 5,000 foot-pound of torque. But they have over 3 tons out of those 5 over the front axle. So the rear end always wants to break away. There's no weight over the back end of these trucks, really, in comparison. The engine's in the middle. They are not easy to drive at all. They will very quickly swap ends on you if you overdo it. This is Norbert Morvai still trying to find his way past the number 56. Here is a look up at the front of the order because, unbeknownst to me, Norbert Kiss has taken the lead. It's a big dive down the inside. It wasn't too untoward, but look at that. Immediately, Enrique Marcos manages to come back at them. But Norbert Kiss does have the lead of the race. I was so encapsulated by looking at the times between some of these drivers here in this pack that unfortunately I missed the change. But Norby has pounced right near the end of the race. And he's done what he needed to do. Lucas Hahn now 2nd place, with a gap of just over a second ahead of him to Norby. And then he's got Enrique Marcos right behind. Enrique could maybe smell blood in the water here, but Lucas has done such a good job of leading this race all the way through. Still the battles go on in the mid-pack. We have here Balayi, Morvai, Ruse and Vila. Balayi certainly taking a liking to the Mercedes, that's for sure. Are we going to see any big sends on the brakes though, as we are now into the final lap of this race? Is anybody going to push their luck? I don't think Jorge Vila is going to, because he knows that if he finishes in 8th place here, he's going to be reversed onto pole position for the 2nd race of the night here at Poznan. actually a battle going on further down the order. 22nd and 23rd. Hendrik Neitsch and Jose Alemany. They're a long way off the next truck ahead of them, but they're battling very hard for 22nd and 23rd place. They're 19 seconds off anyone in front of them after having their own incidents. But they're still pushing on. And that's the thing, you always have to carry on in these sorts of races. You never know what will happen ahead of you. Only one more corner to go, really, for Norbert Kiss now. He's just coming through the right-hander, actually, at turn 13. Leading up to the line. And round the final corner he goes at turn 14. And Norbert Kiss takes another race victory in the EDRC here at Poznan. Fantastically executed race. Beats Lucas Hahn to the flag. Enrique Marcos finishes in third place. The Spaniard will be happy with that. More solid championship points. Robin Kruithoff means that the top four in the championship finish top four in the race. Doesn't look like we have Angel Rapero here tonight, by the way. He's fifth in the championship, but not here tonight. Gergo Balayi finishes in fifth place. Norbert Morvai is sixth, doing some wonderful drifting around turn one. And then Andros Roos and Jorge Vila next up, seventh and eighth. Jari Stark finishes in ninth. And then we have Christian Legosi finishing in 10th place. You can see there the two Freightliners either side of him. Maximilian Maas finishing in 11th spot. Attila Lazar was the next truck in 12th place. Bjorn Taihus finishing in 13th place. I have decided that's my favourite looking machine in the entire field. That wonderful, wonderful DAF CF. Gyula Zentai finishes in 14th ahead of John Newell in 15th place. Nathan Smith down in 16th. Victor Jabados is in 17th. Then Andreas Wagner 18th. Gillian Christian 19th. And Henry Taihus rounds out your top 20. You can see there, though, the drifting and shenanigans has begun after the race. Doesn't matter where you finish in this championship or in this field, you can always celebrate and light up the rears and have quite a lot of fun with it. There's Jose Maria Rosa, followed by Alemany, and then Hendrik Neitsch for the Rising Suns team, finishing at the back of the field. But that's going to be the first race of the night complete already. It's flown by indeed. Apologies for the issues with the server earlier on, but thank you everybody for your patience. Certainly hope you enjoyed the racing. And once everybody gets back into the pits, the server will fade to black. It will all switch over to the practice session in between. I'm going to have to just take a quick break between races here to go and get myself another drink. Throat's feeling very dry after that first one, so apologies. But I'll only be away for a moment or so, and then we'll get the next race underway not long after that. We do have quite the countdown for the grid as well, so we'll rerun through the grid when that does come. We'll look over what potential battles and moments we could have in the second race coming up. There's Victor Jabados in the Freightliner for HVML team. That's the Hungarian Virtual Motorsport League team. Truck number 69 certainly looks the part. Freightliners have always been a favourite of mine. But there is the server fading to black. Everyone will reset. The grid will get set for the second race of the night in just a few moments' time, and then we'll get things underway for the penultimate race meeting of the season, or at least the second race of the penultimate race meeting of the season. I'm your commentator for the English streams, Chaz Draycott. I commentate on the Real World Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship as well. The wonderful Gero Mulkow is on broadcasting duties and replays and server and German commentary as well. So if you are wanting to see the German stream, do go over and say hello to him as well. He's an absolute star, is Gero. But as mentioned, I'm just going to quickly get a quick drink here, everybody, just for a moment. My throat's very dry after that first race, and with the delay in between, I have gone through it a lot quicker than I thought I would. So please do bear with me, and I'll be right back with you. Hello everybody, Chaz Draycott back with you for the 2023 EDRC here on Virtual Racing, and the LKW Tyler 24 DE supported championship is about to get underway for its second race of the night. We have 3 minutes though while the grid gets formed up and everybody gets prepared for the session. So we will go through the grid when it gets moving and look at who could potentially be a race winner here in the second race of the night. Let us know though, who do you think will take the checkered flag first in this one in the YouTube chat? Let's get some interaction going, shall we? It's been quite quiet over there in the YouTube chat. Do say hello. I'll potentially give you a shout out as well if I see the message in time. And it's just good to have you here with us on Virtual Racing this evening. Hope you're having a fantastic night wherever you may be in the world, wherever you are watching from. Chaz Draycott here in the commentary box with you. Thanks to Loudspeaker Agency as well for getting me the opportunity to work here, and Giro as well for reaching out. It only feels like 10 minutes ago since we were first emailing, and we're already getting towards the end of the season now. Norbert Kiss, top of the championship, coming into this race meeting ahead of Robin Kruithoff, Lucas Hahn and Enrique Marcos. Angel Rapero, 5th in the championship coming into this race meeting, but is not here for this one. Jos de Hommel in the YouTube chat saying hello as well. Good evening, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying yourself so far. Everyone's just going to get all set up now and ready to get moving. Looks like David West has been in and out of the server anyway. I think he's just resetting his connection, and then he will be on the grid and we can get going in 1 minute and 45 seconds time. Do bear with me, everyone. I'll be right back, and then we'll get this race underway. So now the time comes, and we will have only about 10 seconds or so left to go now before we get underway here at Poznan for the second race of the night. Like I say, I hope you're all having a wonderful evening wherever you may be in the world, wherever you're watching from. And the field gets underway here at Poznan. Fantastic stuff. So let's have a look at the grid then, shall we? Jorge Vila starts on pole position for this one. He's going to be starting ahead of Andras Roos on the front row. They're both in MAN TGSs. Then we've got Norbert Morvai and Gergo Balai on row 2. Robin Kruithoff is next up. With him on row 3 is Enrique Marcos. Lucas Hahn and Norbert Kiss line up on the 4th row of the grid ahead of Jari Stark and Christian Legosi. They round out your top 10. Maximilian Mars and Attila Lazar are on row 6 ahead of Bjorn Tyhus and Gyula Zentai in the Bagheera Freightliner. John Newell and Nathan Smith, both British drivers in the MAN TGS, are on row 8. And we have Victor Chabados and Andreas Wagner, 17th and 18th. Gillian Christian will start in 19th place, hoping to move further forward from there for sure, with Jose Maria Rosa on the same row of the grid as well. Then we have Henry Tyhus and Jose Alemani next up on row 11. Hendrik Neitsch and David West will be the last 2 trucks on your grid. I think David West was a little bit late getting into the server. Either that, or he is unfortunately disconnected and then had to reconnect again. Halfway around the lap now, there you can see drivers doing everything they can to get temperature into the tyres and the brakes. Look at this fantastic field we've got. So many amazing trucks. All of them with beautiful liveries, great drivers, and a wonderful community behind it as well. Not quite as many on the grid here that we had at the start of the season, but sometimes that can be a bit better for the racing actually when it's not too chaotic. There's not too many trucks on track all the time with field numbers going into the 40s. I often do run sim racing leagues and try and keep the grids below 30 anyway. It seems to be the sort of ideal number. But the ideal number right now is number 66. That is the truck of Jorge Vila. He starts on pole position, leads us all to the line. And the second race of the night here at Poznan in the Virtual Racing EDRC 2023 is underway, and he gets a fantastic jump. And Andras Roos is not quite able to match him. Oh, goodness me, there's trucks in the wall in the background. Who was that? I believe Alamani was in that as well, and Henry Tyhus was joining him in the barrier. That was a big, big hit. Hendrik Neitsch has dropped a place as well to David West. He's gained from all of that. Jorge Vila leads them away, though. Sideways out of turn one goes Norbert Morvai. He's got Andras Roos on his left-hand side. Then we've got Robin Kruithoff, hoping to gain more championship points on Norbert Kiss in this race. He's currently sat in fourth, but down his inside is Balai. Has gone deep into turn three. There's contact, and even more contact. Lucas Hahn is down the inside line there as well. We've got a few trucks around by the look of it. Someone's dropping down. Jabardos has gone completely backwards. He's around on the exit of turn three. Now we've got Norbert Morvai trying to get one over on Andras Roos for second position. Down towards turn six on the brakes. Balai wants to send one through there as well, hanging the back end out. Roos is not quite able to get the power down off the corner. I think if Morvai can hang it around here cleanly without compromise, he could get through the left-hander, sorry, the right-hander. Flipping heck, Chaz doesn't know his left and right. Down at turn 8, and Morvai is almost ahead. I think turn 9 is going to be the decider, or is it? Because Roos is still there, nose down the inside of turn 10, doesn't make it work. All of them glued together, though. Fantastic racing in the opening stages here. Very close, very friendly. But this is meaning that Jorge Vila can break away, because then you've got Morvai, Roos, Balai, Kruithoff and Hahn. And then even Enrique Marcos in there as well. So close together. Well, Morvai is going to have to be the big orange cork in the bottle right now and defend from all of these drivers behind him. Like I said before, Slipstream, not really that big a player here. Because you do get limited to 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour in these incredible racing machines. And there is a big old train forming behind them all, isn't there? It is a big old train forming behind. Robin Kruithoff having to defend the inside line here. Lucas Hahn is trying to get around the outside. Enrique Marcos tries to go down the inside of Lucas, and he might make that work as well, you know. Oh, there's a bit of a shoulder barge there as they go towards turn 4. Not sure who moved over on who there. Looks like Lucas stays in front. Norbert Kiss is still in 8th place here. He's not gained any places. Andras Roos, by the look of it, has got ahead of Norbert Morvai again. Morvai is back down the inside into turn 6. Kruithoff shows his nose down the inside of Balai. As, oh, look at that lovely move there by Lucas Hahn. Manages to outdo him one way, then the other. Now Kruithoff had the inside line and actually managed to stay in front in that situation. So busy, isn't it? Already. Can't wait to see what the racing is like here in the real world. I'm sure it's going to be very exciting. Kruithoff in the middle of all of this in that fantastic Scania T-cab really does stand out like a sore thumb, doesn't he? As there is Andras Josh Roos now in second place. But look at the lead. Amazing stuff by Jorge Vila. He's absolutely disappeared up the road. 3.6 seconds now. All of this battling, keeping all these guys together. It's keeping us entertained, but it's also keeping the Spaniard out in front. And he sat there, didn't he? In the latter stages of that first race, he sat there knowing that he was going to be able to keep that position and start at the front of the grid and maybe run away with it. Norbert Morvai late on the brakes there, skids the rear end out slightly into turn 3. Nothing doing though. I'm getting nervous for these guys now. I'm just waiting for this to all come to a head. All it's going to take is one mistake from one of them. One send, someone missing the braking point. Just a tiny little mistake. And all of a sudden, could be a big old change in this pack. We've got, well, nearly 9 of them now altogether. Christian Lagosi is on the back of this as well. Maximilian Mars is there in 9th place. All the way down from 2nd to 10th position. All 9 of them in one big train. Look at it, the way it snakes its way through turns 9 and 10. Beautiful to watch. It really does remind me of Most, this circuit, in a lot of places. The way that it flows one way then the other. It certainly is elegant for truck racing, the way they move around a track like this. It does feel like it's way out in the sticks though, doesn't it? There's no huge grandstands or buildings ever really visible from any point of the track, other than the start-finish straight, and that again, it's not the biggest paddock in the world. Not much there in terms of the buildings. A lot of it's just one big tent down the pit lane. Robin Kreutzhoff feels the need to go defensive here on Lucas Hahn and moves over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Lucas is certainly looking a bit more menacing at this point. Enrique Marcos needs to keep his eyes peeled as well for Norbert Kiss trying to come through down the inside. He could very easily sneak through before you even know it. Now, there comes the move from Lucas Hahn. He puts his nose down the inside of Robin Kreutzhoff, but doesn't outbrake him. Robbie holds on. Robbie needs to try and keep as many trucks between himself and Norbert Kiss as he can. Let's not forget that Norbert won the first race of the night. Robin finished in 4th position, a couple of trucks back. So that means that Norby has gained points on him in the championship, and Robbie needs to try and get them back. Norby now under pressure from Maximilian Mars, number 23 Freightliner right behind him. It's very tense at this moment in time, isn't it? There's not massive moves going on anywhere, you know, there's nobody really sending it or doing anything out of the ordinary here. They're just assessing the situation they're in, following on from the truck in front, eyeing up opportunities. That's the key thing. Everyone's being very patient, which is nice to see, because admittedly over the course of the season we've all seen the contact and accidents that we've had in these second races has been pretty remarkable. There's been a lot of it in some of them. Arama was a real destruction derby at points. Very entertaining for us watching along at home, but for the drivers, frustrating time. Very frustrating time. We're now on to the 5th lap of the race. It says 6 at the top, but don't forget we had a lap for a warm-up lap, green flag lap, formation lap, whatever you want to call it. This man, well, he's nearly on the 7th lap of the race already. Jorge Vila flying at the moment at the front of the pack, doing everything right. Very tidy drive indeed. Here's a little look a bit further down the order. A battle between number 73, which is Jose Alemani, side by side with Jose Maria Rosa. Both of them go off the road, pushing a little bit too hard. Attila Lazar goes through, and so too does Gillian Christian. Nearly a bit of contact there, actually, between Alemani and Rosa. I think Alemani's going to go back down the inside. No, Rosa goes through. And just ahead of all of that is this man, Andreas Wagner, truck number 89. finds himself in 14th position. Still, Jose Maria Rosa tries to hang on, fight for any bit of track space that he can, because Jose Alemany is putting him under pressure at the minute. Jose Maria and this much older racing Scania. Not quite the latest model on the grid for sure. Maximilian Mars there in the Freightliner pushing on. You can see some of them still hanging the back end out slightly. They've got that drifty characteristics that these trucks have in the real world as well. No weight over the rear really, compared to the front end anyway. 5 tons, I think the minimum is 5,150 kilos in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and 3.5 tons of that needs to be weighed over the front axle. So really the weight of these machines is very much aimed at the front end and getting that bite and the grip down into those front tyres. 4 tyres on the rear though as well to help with the traction. And the fact that, again, as I say, there's no weight over the rear end and you can really slide them about, you can really drift them very well. Everyone's behaving themselves so far in this race, I have to say. I mean, touch wood, I may have jinxed it there slightly, but Gergo Balayi is holding on to 4th ahead of Robin Kroitov, and the trucks ahead of it, Morvai and Roos. They're starting to break away a little bit here. They're making moves, you know. They've got a second over Balayi at the moment. It doesn't look like anybody back in this pack at the moment is able to really throw a move in and make hay as such. Lucas Hahn is certainly looking a bit more menacing, it has to say. It has to be said, I should say. Over the machine in front. But he's not doing enough at the moment to make the move on Robin Kroitov. He's all over the back of him though. You just hope that the contact never comes. You don't want him to push him out of the way. Want it to be a nice fair fight. There have been a few moments so far this season where we've seen trucks just miss their braking point slightly, give the truck in front a bit of a kiss, but the physics are slightly exaggerated here and that little kiss is quite the headbutt. Attila Lazar now down the inside of Andreas Wagner, Scania down the inside of MAN. Through goes the 91, and then Gillian Christian's going to try and get a run here as well, but obviously limited to 100 miles an hour, 160 Ks. Cannot do too much about it at this point in time. Just has to sit there on the limiter and wait for the next braking zone to try and get past Wagner. There's Nathan Smith with Bjorn Tyhus just behind. Bit of a slide out of turn 1 for Nathan. He leaves room down the inside for Bjorn. Bjorn goes through in that excellent looking DAF CF. I will never not compliment that machine. Around the outside at turn 3 as well. You can compliment that all you like. Fantastic move. Hasn't completed it though, and Nathan Smith is now back down the inside into turn 4. Very respectful stuff from the two of them. They're both leaving space. Maybe a little bit too much space there actually by Bjorn. Runs slightly wide through turn 4, trying to push the limits. And unfortunately slots back in to 13th position. A little bit later on the brakes there though. Nearly gives Nathan a kiss. Quite this time round. You can see that huge train of racing machines was just in the background there as they now head their way round turns 9, 10, and 11 into 12. Here's the middle of it, Lucas Hahn. Robin Kroitov just in front, then Enrique Marcos just behind. Look at Lucas trying to tuck it in, trying to get a run on the exit. Any sort of slingshot, any sort of cutback will do. Now, Jorge Vila, he opened up quite a gap early on, about 4.6 seconds, I think it was at one point. He's not disappearing now from Andras Roos. Roos is doing a really good job at sticking with his pace right now. He's not exceeding him by any point. Well, he was 0.3 of a second quicker on that lap, was Roos, than Vila. Even Norbert Morvai was 1/10 or so quicker. Robin Kruithoff was about the same. Lucas Hahn was 2/10 quicker. Marcos was 3/10 quicker. And Kiss was 2/10 quicker as well. So Jorge Vila, like I said, may have opened up that gap early on, but it's not over yet. He's not got out of the woods here. Someone that's definitely not out of the woods is Lucas Hahn, looking down the inside, then the outside of Robin Kruithoff. And then again, I say they're not out of the woods. It's like we are literally racing in the woods. There's a lot of trees and greenery around this circuit. It's gorgeous, though. Very gorgeous racetrack. Almost feel like you're watching a sort of private track day as Norbert Kiss looks down the inside of Enrique Marcos again, tries to put pressure on. Enrique goes to the inside line. Lucas tries to open the door there with a big send on Robin Kruithoff. That doesn't work. Robbie focuses his energy forward. We look back here from Lucas Hahn. Now looking back from Robin Kruithoff. See that menacing look on the front of the Iveco S-Way. And Lucas Hahn, look at the way that the weight in these trucks transfers one way then the other. Not that much lean by the look of it from here in Kruithoff's machine. Lucas is, by the look of it, trail braking slightly around there just to pinch the front end into the corner a little bit more. Got a little bit of what's known as rubber banding there, just the connection between drivers. Not 100% consistent, moving around slightly. It's not that bad. Assetto Corsa and simulators similar to it really do allow you to do a lot of very close and very competitive racing. Across the line to lap 9 out of 11 we go. This lap and then 2 more. Kruithoff has to ride the brakes all the way around there. You can see the brake lights come on. Are we going to see the send from Lucas Hahn here? He goes to the outside first. Last time he did it the other way around, he went inside then outside. Robin Kruithoff has to park it on the apex, and again, it's not quite there. So close together. Oh, Lucas has given him a shove. Lucas gives him a little push through turn 4. I know that the guys behind will love to take advantage of that. Enrique Marcos says thanks very much, and this will be painful for Lucas Hahn if he loses out anything here. He's late on the brakes. He's into Kruithoff. He saw that Marcos was looking down the inside, and oh, dearie me, it's gone to pot for Robin Kruithoff. Marcos put his nose down the inside of Lucas. Lucas came off the brakes slightly to make sure he didn't get hit, and in doing so slid into the back of the Scania T-cab. Oh, that's devastating for Kruithoff. He did so well defending from Lucas. I'm sure if it was up to him, Lucas would give the place back now, but he'd have to give away 3 to make that happen. I think it's best for him that he just carries on right now. But that is such a shame. Such a shame to see that. I said earlier, we don't want the battles or anything to be decided by contact. Unfortunately, you can't avoid it sometimes when you get moments like that. But that is a big old shame, that one. Lucas Hahn, the fact of the matter is that Lucas is now 5th. Behind him is Enrique Marcos, then Norbert Kiss. Gogo Balai doesn't have that much breathing room still in front of him. You would have thought that with all the battling he would have been able to get away, but then again Robin Kruithoff was matching him for pace. We're on the penultimate lap of the race here at Poznan. Tor Poznan. There's a big gap in the field though, by the way, when you go from Juri Stark back to Bjorn Teichhuis. Humongous train. It's got a big old gap behind it of about 12 seconds back to Bjorn. Here's Morvai holding on to 3rd place. He and Roos have continued to sort of match the pace of Jorge Vila. Vila did a 56.7 last time round, and Roos and Morvai, well, their laps were only 0.07 of a second apart. They were very similar. Here's a look further down the order at Lazar down the inside of Nathan Smith. Rubbing panels as, oh, Nathan's tried to turn in there slightly. But Lazar goes through. Very close racing though. There's only one more lap to go now for Jorge Vila. everybody's still in one big train here. Excuse me, apologies. Lucas Hahn will be hoping to make at least one more place, though, trying to get rid of that Mercedes in front of him. But Gergo Balai's had a great night in that Mercedes tonight. He's really made the most of it. Down start finish straight we go. One more lap then to complete here at Poznan tonight in the Virtual Racing EV EDRC by LKW Tyler 24, with Chaz Draycott here on the commentary, Gero Mulkow on the broadcasting duties, and he's also doing the German commentary, and he's also managing the server. He's an absolute superstar. Right now it's Jorge Vila leading the way, Andras Roos in second, Norbert Morvai in third, and then we have Gergo Balai in fourth, and we're looking right now at the man behind him, Lucas Hahn, fifth position. Races in the real world in this Iveco S-Way. Does a really good job of it as well, he does. He's just done an amazing cutback though on Balai. There's contact. We need to try and separate from each other slightly because these trucks do bounce off each other quite a lot. Balai tries to turn in. Lucas has gone wide. Oh, he's pushed him straight off the road. Enrique Marcos goes through. Norbert Kiss goes through. And Gergo Balai is still recovering. He's still losing time. He's lost places to Kreuthoff and Maximilian Maas as well. It was a little bit unsavoury from Lucas Hahn. That one won't go down well. There was contact with Lucas and was it Manuel Alvarez, or was it actually Enrique Marcos at Donington Park last time out? It wasn't looked at with particularly fond opinion, unfortunately. But at the front of the field, we're going to have a very impressive race win by the look of it by Jorge Vila. He's done everything he needed to do up to this point. Led the field, let them all battle behind. And they certainly have done that. Norbert Kiss is going to retain his championship lead over Robin Kreuthoff with this one. But the 66 machine makes its way around the final corner now and across the line to take the race win in the second race of the night here at Poznan. Is going to be Jorge Vila. He's weaving left and right. He's drifting like mad. Great win. Andras Roos takes second place. Norbert Morvai gets a podium in third ahead of Lucas Hahn, Enrique Marcos, Norbert Kiss, Robin Kreuthoff, Maximilian Maas, Gergo Balai and Christian Legosi. Very entertaining race. A bit different to what we've seen in these second races of the night, actually. Look at the drifting here. This is gorgeous, isn't it? This is what this circuit's going to be good for, though, in the real world as well, is the long, sweeping, consistent corners. They have a very consistent radius about them. They don't tighten, they don't open up. They're going to be fantastic for drifting these trucks around. See everybody getting in on it now. Bit of a Scandinavian flick. Robin Kreuthoff will be gutted with that one. So too will Enrique, sorry, not Enrique Marcos, Gergo Balai, who we see there. He was having a wonderful night. And then that little bit of contact with Lucas Hahn, unfortunately, shoved him off the road. It's not pretty. But it's one of those things, unfortunately, that does happen sometimes. See now, so much drifting going on. Even donuts here from Bjorn Tyhus. He's throwing the number 51 around. As we look down the order, we've got Jari Stark, Bjorn Tyhus, Gillian Christian, Nathan Smith, Andreas Wagner finishing in 15th, Henry Tyhus finishing in 16th place, then Gula Zentai in 17th place, David West finishing 18th, and then the trucks behind them were John Newell, Attila Lazar, Victor Shabados, Henrik Neitsch. Then we had Jose Alemani and Jose Maria Rosa, who had RG Bargi earlier on. Here is your championship leader going into the final race meeting of the season, Norbert Kiss. One more race meeting left, and it's at one of my favourite circuits. We're going to be heading to Misano in Italy, where the 2023 championship, the Real World Championship, will actually get underway as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. It really is. That man's having a lot of fun tonight. Jorge Vila takes a race win in the championship. That's going to mean a lot to him. A lot of championship points coming his way going into this race meeting. He was all the way down in 13th in the standings, but we know that he's got the pace to win races, and he's proving that to us right now. Not sure if he's parking it there for a specific reason or whether he's just supposed to, I don't know. But still, he parks over to the right-hand side. And there are the two Freightliners of Maximilian Mars and Jari Stark. 8th and 11th for them, for the This Is Sim Racing team. They'll be pleased with that. Solid night of championship points for them. And there is more drifting by Bjorn Tyhus, the number 51. I have to reiterate, that's my favourite looking truck in the paddock. It is an awesome looking machine, so retro. Unfortunately, we don't get to see his next drift, though, as the server ticks over. And that is going to round out our evening of racing here on Virtual Racing in the EDRC for 2023. I really hope you enjoyed that one. It was a hell of a lot of fun. 2 more fantastic, fantastic races. And what we're going to be doing is joining you on April the 2nd, 2023 at Misano for the final race meeting of the season. Thanks very much to the organisers of the event. Thanks to Giro as well and Loudspeaker Agency for putting all this together for me to be here. My name is Chaz Draycott, commentator for the EDRC and the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Thanks very much for your time, everybody. Hope you have a fantastic evening wherever you may be in the world. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Misano. Good night.